Halloween Sylas is a 5-star limited shadow bow unit, introduced in the recent Halloween event that has already ended. I need to get my shit back together to catch up on my video schedule. Anyway, while Laxi takes the role as the subject of experimentation in a play, Sylas takes the role of mad scientist, incredibly similar to the tale of Frankenstein. In terms of gameplay, Sylas differs a bit from other bow users as he shoots scalpels instead of arrows. Very appropriate of Sylas as he is a mad scientist, but reminds me of Dio for some reason. Sylas also has some similarities to his original version, particularly his poisoning, strength reduction, and the random nature of his second skill. He also retains his support class, with this form trading away his standard strength reduction for adaptive suppression, Timetstamps, shadow blight, and, thank god, a low SP dispel. Let's check out his kit in further detail. His first skill, Surgical Trick, costs 2520 SP. It deals 1864% damage in a line, inflicts poison, and dispels a buff from each enemy. By itself, it's already a decent skill with a low cost. But, this skill will perform additional effects if Sylas has all 3 forms of samples, which can be obtained from his normal attacks and force strikes. The additional effects are in the form of an additional attack that deals 1026% damage, dispels a buff, and inflicts shadow blight. These effects made an already decent skill very powerful, having dual afflictions, dispelling twice, and having nearly 2000% damage, despite only being able to be activated occasionally when requirements are met. Overall, it's a decent skill in its base form, and an incredibly powerful skill when having all 3 forms of samples. His second skill, Aromatic Treat, costs 6000 SP. It's incredibly similar to the second skill of his original version, providing 1 out of 3 effects at random. The 3 effects are, increase maximum HP by 15%, increase light resistance by 20% for 10 seconds, and 10% damage reduction for 20 seconds. This skill also provides all 3 effects at once occasionally, and removes all afflictions from all teammates when it is traded. The randomness of this skill is eliminated when Sylas has all 3 samples, guaranteeing all 3 effects at the cost of all 3 samples. This skill is a more defensive version of his original version, with improvements such as being half the cost as well as having a requirement for guaranteeing all 3 effects instead of being RNG based. This increases a level of control of this skill when compared to the original version. Overall, this skill is a major improvement from Sylas' original version, now being much more usable and befitting for a modern support unit. Sylas has the standard skill Haste Co ability for bow units, which coincidentally works perfectly on him as support units need skill haste. His Chain Co ability is another great Co ability, providing HP regeneration when HP drops below 60%. This increases survivability of the team, as well as in one way, assisting his exclusive ability. Sylas is immune to blindness, which is okay for a unit like Sylas. Paralysis isn't an issue for him, as his Chain Co ability can prevent his HP from going down too dangerously. Both of Sylas' abilities are exclusive to him, both of them powering up his supportive capabilities. His first ability, Dark Experiment, allows Sylas to perform dash attacks by tapping the screen while dodging. The damage from this attack is 200%. Interestingly, if the normal attack is followed after the dash attack, he'll start from the second combo in the normal attack sequence. As for the samples required for powering up his skills, there are Combo Sample, Strike Sample, and Dash Sample. They can be obtained through the 5th attack in the standard attack combo, hits using force strikes, and hits using dash attacks respectively. When all 3 effects are present, using any of Sylas' own skills will consume all 3 effects, and powering up the skill that consumed them. In addition, he gains a 30% strength increase when his HP is above 70%. Basically, this ability empowers his skills through some requirements in his normal attacks. All these are easy to achieve, except for his dash attacks. To execute it, just swipe and tap in quick succession. The odd thing about this ability is the 30% strength when his HP is above 70%, which though welcomed, seems out of place in this ability. His second ability, Forbidden Procedure, grants additional effects when either one out of two of the requirements are met. The requirements are dispelling an enemy buff or barrier, or using his second skill. The additional effects are as follows. Add 20% modifier to Sylas' damage against light enemies for 30 seconds. Grant a defense amp that has a maximum team amp level of 2. It has its own cooldown, but thank god it's only 10 seconds. Fill 15% of Sylas' skill gauges, which also has a 10-second cooldown. Additionally, when dispelling a buff or barrier, it applies adaptive suppression to the enemy, reducing the enemy's damage by 15% for 10 seconds. This ability is easy to trigger, especially since Sylas' own dispelling skill has a low SP cost. The effects it grant more defensive buffs for the team, while having more offensive buffs to Sylas himself. Halloween Sylas is classified as a support unit, but he also has good damage potential. His first skill already has decent damage in its base form, and its enhanced form boosts the mods up to nearly 3000%. His supportive capabilities come from his second skill and his Forbidden Procedure ability, but he is also able to provide dual affliction support thanks to his first skill. Sylas will definitely benefit from a typical support build, with buff time able to be used here as he provides normal defensive buffs alongside defense amps. However, adding more offensive element into his build will definitely help him, while not taking away his support potential. For his team composition, as he is a support, he can pretty much fit into any team, especially shadow teams. However, he doesn't have any method for lowering enemy resistance to Shadow Blight and Poison, which will prove to be problematic in longer boss battles. Having some Leonidas, who has the ability to reduce Shadow Blight resistance, as well as having shared skills that reduce poison resistance, will definitely mitigate this issue. Lastly, pairing up with a unit that relies on Poison Punisher for grat damage can indirectly allow Sylas to empower said character. Such units include Lafner and Forte. For Dragon of Choice, if you're focusing on his second skill, that has great support potential, equipping Azazel on him is a good pick. Personally, I would just pick any offensive dragon that can provide him with good enough stats. Definitely will not equip Bahamut though, as I would rather pair Bahamut with my other main DPS shadow units. For his Wimprint setup, definitely a mix of support and offense. Skill haste is a top priority. For buff time I use the 4-star print that provides 25% buff time. Everything else will be more offense oriented, including HP 70 equals strength, as his buffs provide more defense. Halloween Sylas actually flew under my radar when the banner was released. I wasn't really taken in by his design, and I don't have any comment regarding his character. However, after analyzing his kit, it does seem that he is a straight upgrade over his original self, and a good support unit in general. His defensive buffs are able to be affected by buff time, yet their nature makes them immune to Curse of Nihility, making him a great unit even against the demons in the minion stages. There is one issue with Sylas, and that is his Dark Experiment ability. This ability allows him to gain sample effects, in order to greatly empower both of his skills. The dash attack in particular requires some getting used to, in order to fully take advantage of this ability. But overall, Sylas is a very impressive support character, providing the team with more defensive buffs, while also having good self-defense capabilities. Now go out there, and I shall quickly start work on Humanoid Jupiter's video, as I'm using my next off day to visit Tears of Themis Hoyofest next week, which is at a place 4 hours away from where I'm at lol. That's all from me. Moga out.